As a UX designer, your portfolio is an incredibly important part of your repertoire. It can make or break a job application, so it's essential that your portfolio is of the highest quality possible. However, making a portfolio can be a daunting prospect with a lot of things that need to be thought about. With this video, my goal is to simplify that approach for you a little bit so that you can be on the right track to create the best portfolio possible. Let's get right into it. But first, what is a portfolio? A portfolio is essentially a document or website that contains a collection of your work, as well as telling the audience the story of who you are and why you're a good person to be hired. Now, portfolios can come in different forms, but the most common form of portfolio for UX designers is a website, since they offer the most flexibility when it comes to formatting your work and telling your story. And on that note, the primary component of your portfolio is going to be your projects. UX projects are presented in formats called case studies, and your portfolio can have up to 6 different case studies at any point. Although it is worth noting that the focus should be on quality and not quantity. Now, a case study is a compelling story of a design project that you have worked on. It talks through the end-to-end process from the problem you're trying to solve to the solution you've built and the ups and downs along the way. So, why are case studies important? They showcase how you solve a problem effectively through research and data. Process is as important as the outcome is. Case studies tell people why your solution is impactful and why it solves a problem on hand effectively. And most importantly, case studies show people why they should hire you and showcase your abilities to the truest form possible. Your portfolio can show someone how you can truly make a difference within their organization or team. So, starting with our first tip, make sure that you're focusing on the skimmability of your portfolio. Now, the fact of the matter is, recruiters and hiring managers have to deal with a large influx of applications. Data suggests that 80% of recruiters skim through portfolios in 5 minutes or less. Now, this can vary, obviously, depending on the person viewing your portfolio, but the point stands. People aren't reading every detail. They're skimming through the pages. So this reaffirms to us to choose quality over quantity when it comes to the content we are putting on our portfolios. Therefore, make your portfolio an effective scanning experience. Portfolios can contain details, but make sure to highlight the right details. Let me show you some examples of some good practices, basically things to do right on a portfolio. First, it is really important to have good visual hierarchy and balance between information and imagery. Too much text becomes cumbersome, while too little information leaves people without context. The image on the right is an example of good balance. This person has a decent amount of information on the section, but the information becomes very easy to absorb since they break the info down into chunks and punctuate it with relevant imagery for some added visual appeal and comprehension. Now, the next example is about giving context-based information at the right moments. Now, take a look at the project cards on the right. They have colored tags that describe the focus of each project, like UX research or design systems. These tags are very helpful because they provide quick and easily visible context to each project. And now, for the last example of this section, we can take a look at the case study on the right. Notice how there is an anchor menu on the left side of that image. A lot of website builders have this option to include on your pages, and this is really helpful to improve navigation and skimmability, since it enables users to quickly click through sections and to get an overview of what the project is all about. So, to re-emphasize, people are scanning. Don't bury the good stuff. Tip number 2. Use a data-driven approach, or in other words, use data and metrics to justify your design decisions. Now, great product design is a combination of empathy, data, and intuition. A skill set that every company values is the ability to drive your decisions using data, driving your designs using data. Every design you make, every screen, and every feature needs to be justified by data and metrics. Let's learn by example. So the next time you justify a feature, instead of saying, "We made this feature because users like it," we can say something like, "This feature was implemented because 8 out of 10 users found it to be more convenient to use, which also resulted in a 120% increase in conversion rate." This kind of thinking creates more credibility for your designs by connecting them to data gathered directly from your users. Now, it is also important to make sure that you are tying your designs back to the people you are designing for in a consistent way. Evaluative research, testing, and iterative design processes all play key roles in this. One way to do this is by connecting your designs directly to the target audience you are designing for. Take a quick glance at this example target demographic we have on screen. A hypothetical example can be something like this. This design helps our target demographic because of their lack of free time. Now, of course, this is just an example, but as you can see, we are being specific to the users we are designing for. Tip number 3. First impressions are really important, so make the most of them. UX is a rapidly growing field, and as we've already established, recruiters and hiring managers go through a lot of portfolios every day. This makes it even more important to stand out and make a good first impression. So this brings us to the homepage, which is one of the most impactful portions of your portfolio. You want to make sure that your homepage is visually appealing and describes who you are adequately. Your style is up to you. It can be minimal, artistic, motion-driven, or any other way you please. You just need to make sure that it sticks with the audience. The example on the right is a good one. Notice how there's a good amount of information accompanied by beautiful visuals that definitely make a good first impression. The next point is related to the other creative aspects of your portfolio. While your projects, UX foundational skills, and the homepage should definitely be your priority, once you have these things set up, it's always good to include a more versatile set of interests or creative pursuits that can help you stand out. Now, this is not necessarily related to first impressions, but just making a more memorable impression in general. When presenting a UX project, it is valuable to describe both success and failure. A lot of people tend to not talk about the things that didn't work, and including this information can create a refreshing change of pace when it comes to the narrative of your portfolio. But it is important to make sure that instead of only dwelling on the failure and talking negatively about it, what you do instead is talk about how you learned from it. Hiring managers value knowing your thought process, and this can be further exemplified by talking about how you overcame a failure rather than avoiding talking about it entirely. Our final tip of this video is to not be afraid to show off what you have done. A very simple thing that a lot of people end up not doing properly is highlighting the things they did within a team project. Make sure that on your portfolio, you're talking about the design decisions and the impact that you have made, separate from the team. Now, don't get me wrong. It is important to demonstrate effective collaboration. But alongside this, it is also important to talk about how your specific contributions were an effective driver for success. So, to wrap up this video, let's talk through some common mistakes people make on their case studies so that you don't have to. The first mistake is too much text. We want our case studies to feel visually engaging and not like somebody is reading an article. Don't put in endless paragraphs of text. Keep it succinct. On the flip side, however, you also don't want too many visuals. Too many visuals means that we don't allow ourselves to explain our work adequately enough to our users. So the conclusion is make it balanced. This is a good example in front. A good example of balance in terms of visuals, text, and colors. Draw the reader in with strong visuals complemented with effective and easy to understand copy. The moral of the story is make the story simple but powerful and engaging. Make sure to try and explain how it is relevant to you as a designer and the strengths you choose to embody. And that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and make sure to visit uxgo.com to find more free resources, as well as information on memberships for our platform.